This is Dalen, and he makes some of the most creative business vlogs. And since a lot of people noticed that and started talking about his success, I wanted to actually find out for myself what makes this guy special. And as someone who's helping online entrepreneurs play YouTube competitively for the sake of business, I had to look for the real secrets. He is a true example of standing out. However, if you try to copy him, it's a losing game. Most people won't succeed by hiring a cameraman to follow them around. This is actually the first point. Standing out. Well, how? You see, it all comes down to key fundamental truth, that being supply and demand. The same system that helped Daniel grow an audience of superfans, get him the right partnerships, and even hire die-hard employees. If Daniel simply tried to copy other people in the space, he wouldn't have had this success. Yes, for example, there's a lot of demand in consuming Alex Hormozy's content, but the supply is already fulfilled. Viewers go through cycles, and Daniel was at the right time doing the right thing to blow up. And it's the fact that people were actually tired of watching the talking head style of advice videos and wanted to see more of the behind the scenes of growing a business, even if it was for entertainment. The problem is that when everyone could make beautiful videos, the idea and the story behind making such content becomes more important.
That's what I've been trying to do. It's really try and find your own style and try and find what works for you. I have no idea if I'm using the right settings or if I'm using the right lens or whatever. I just use what feels good and what I really want to use.
Not that actually his content shows you some big secret behind the scenes stuff that is forbidden. No, his videos are more on the side of entertainment. It's about coming up with a thesis and testing it. And Daniel's growth thesis could have been something like,
so this is me documenting the process of the research. And this is like the first time I'm like watching Dalen. And the guy simply understands his audience, like keeping lessons quick, short, relevant. Like he has a taste.
Daniel's growth thesis could have been something like this. Given the oversaturated landscape of same type of content, from ideas to editing, etc., if I create a concise, high-value video that reveals my reflections and learnings to help entrepreneurs avoid my mistakes and document the behind the scenes of business in a creative manner, then I'll capture an audience that's hungry for authenticity, rapidly growing my channel and business revenue. And this is the main premise of his videos. He turned his pain into productized videos.
And most importantly, guys, I'm having so much fun documenting everything and dissecting my learnings for everyone to just pick up and hopefully avoid any of the iceberg that I'm hitting myself.
It's not about the value of the advice either. I noticed that he could repeat the same advice in different videos, which is okay. But it's the entertaining aspect of running a business. A lot of people keep thinking about YouTube personal brand and all that stuff, ignoring the branding aspect. And truly, Daniel built a personal brand like a brand. You see, Daniel created a narrative, showing the process of running a business and being authentic. However, not just authentic in front of the camera. I also mean the authenticity of the creativity of the videos. Daniel doesn't actually consider himself a content creator, which is fair, more like an entrepreneur using content for his business, but he is creative and he constantly injects his vision in the videos, which is an advantage that many entrepreneurs don't have.
And guys, one thing that's important to mention is I don't necessarily consider myself a content creator. And as crazy as that sounds, I am an entrepreneur that simply just realized the importance of content nowadays. And I've always been extremely creative. So I've really forced myself to get creative and understand everything about these cameras. But to this day, I honestly have no clue what I'm doing.
What's also crazy is how much he was involved in the process early on. Nowadays you got many business owners hiring thumbnail designers and video editors from the get-go, which is good for you. You have the resources, go for it. Everyone has a different approach. And for him, since he was more on the side of the creative guy, he had no problem actually doing it. He enjoyed it. He's even still peculiar about the shots he takes, the images and the message, the visual narrative he wants to tell. Like, for example, the multiple jump cuts of him working behind the desk. It's more like showing the grind and the focus, something that is relatable to the audience watching. He even still reviews his videos.
And I got the latest YouTube video to review, so I'm just gonna check that one out while we have some sushi. I always like to watch my videos before we release them, especially because, you know, certain things that you know, I want to remove or that I want to have adjusted, or yeah, just like a little bit of feedback towards the team. Since I'm not doing my own edits anymore, I kind of hit a wall and start like just basically died trying to keep up with everything that we have going on within the businesses, while also editing my own videos. So yeah, just gonna check this one out now.
Into Hong Kong late night. We're just gonna try and get a good night of sleep today.
It's the type of content that's more on the side of it's about the journey, not the destination. It's not merely about showing you the exact task he's doing in his deep work session. It's more about the overall theme and vibe, because honestly, like, what are you gonna show in that? Like, most of the time you're working behind the desk, and that's just mostly boring stuff that you shouldn't show in the video. It's just a waste of time unless there is something interesting or done correctly. This idea of the journey, not the destination, like, still helped him land a $25 million partnership. And more about the authenticity part. So how do we create a brand that stands out? It's actually really hard to be authentic in front of the camera. Like, you could be authentic with yourself, talking to yourself and all that stuff, but like when it comes to actually picking up your phone or the camera, it's kind of like you have to force yourself to be authentic. So yeah, be authentic. But please, that's not enough. Authentic isn't just about in front of the camera. It's also in the pre-production and post-production, the way your videos are, the way you experiment, and all that stuff. Like, for example, Dalen. I see authenticity in the editing of his videos. Like, that's a neat detail. The authenticity in the way he films, in what he chooses to show and what he doesn't choose to. YouTube is the #1 long-term platform, and you should adapt a way for you to be able to consistently do it over a long-term horizon. Show the failures, the journey, and if you can, it's about being high value for a specific type of people. Your content isn't for everyone, and you know it. Thanks for your time and attention, and see me later, I guess.